The premise of my study is engaging families in home literacy and helping them help their child with literacy development at home. So this past school year, just to relate to what I shared last in my last video, uh, I started home journals, and that was a project I started through studying a collegial study with Kentucky Reading Project participants. So to enact change in that home-school connection. So our school has certain things that they do school-wide as engaging families in their literacy, home literacy development with their child. One is the Books in the Bag program, and that's school-wide, and then the home journals are not school-wide, but most teams, I know grades 3 through 5 definitely do home journals, a little differently than the way I did them this past school year. And then my kindergarten team does the home journals. So I want to bring up these conversations with my staff and with the teachers in my building to kind of get ideas and problem solve as to how to support families more in helping their child at home through the use of these two ways and other ways as well. So reflecting on my experience this past year, I had many conversations with my families, especially the ones that did not participate regularly in the home journals. And some of the things that I noticed or through the conversation that came up was that they had, there were some differences in perceptions of what to do and how to guide their children in their literacy learning through using the home journals. So I was looking at some environmental factors that would influence like their family dynamics and small children, or that kind of the routines of the family also affected engagement. So in having these conversations, some families said that they didn't really have an excuse as to why they did not participate regularly, that they really should, and they said that they would work on it, but then it didn't transpire. Others attribute lack of their involvement to misunderstanding the goals and the expectations of the home literacy journals. For instance, they go home on Monday with expectation to write one entry together and then return on Friday each week, and that's the day that we share them in our classrooms as a whole class. And then also the other problem that I noticed as I spoke with families that especially those that were from a different language, who spoke a different language in the home other than English, they had little or no understanding of the expected literacy activities. So I know in discussing homework with my team and the response from people at home with the home journals, they had similar concerns and issues with certain families that they had in their classroom. So I want to open up a dialogue, so to speak, with the school, with my team, and then take it to the school level as to how to engage families more in this literacy learning at home with the home journals and with the take-home books in the bag. And any other ideas, just really, really open it up. I found this book very helpful, Literacy in the Welcoming Classroom. It's Creating Family School Partnerships that Support Student Learning. It's by JoBeth Allen. This helped shape my choices this past school year in starting the home journals with my families, and there's a lot of ideas in here on variations of ways to connect with home literacy, not just through the home journals, but there's variations on the home journals as well as other ways to connect families with literacy at home. So I would like to start a book study on this, a collegial book study. We've done that before. My principal is very supportive of that. We've experienced book studies in the past, and I think most of my colleagues would be very open to doing a book study, meeting maybe twice a month, taking time out of a certain amount of time of a weekly staff meeting to do so and discuss our practices with literacy involvement with families, with the home journals, or with Books in the Bag, or any other literacy involvement with families. So that is one idea I have in lead learning in my school. Another goal, one goal in the project of this enacting change with, that homeschool connection, is to promote literacy practice at home and build that bridge between home and school so that students don't see that reading and writing as solely a school activity. I would like to, make it more invitational with families, that this is not, like a homework assignment per se. That's something we may have to discuss as a staff, how we want to approach that, as a graded assignment or as a participatory assignment. So that's one goal that I have, because research shows that family involvement in their children's education has a direct effect on their achievement at school. One student, I was very amazed with his progress this past year. He was an ELL student, and he also received speech services. He really had a difficult time communicating at the beginning of the school year, and I saw him grow a lot through sharing his journal each week, and be able to express himself. Those speaking and listening skills are so important to develop early on, and I really noticed a lot of growth in all my students, but in him particular. He was very reluctant to share at the beginning of the school year, and then by the end of by middle of the school year, he was sharing regularly and very happy to share. He was very joyful to share because his family participated so regularly, and they did it collaboratively, where they both drew and wrote together. It wasn't just the child doing the activity by themselves. Another educational objective is to increase students' ability to write fluently about a topic of interest. That's one of the things that we focus on in our writing workshop, is you have to pick a topic and you have to develop that idea. So also developing their knowledge of letter sound correspondence is another objective. One test that we give during the school year is the Hearing and Recording Sounds Assessment. This is originated from Maury Clay's An Observation Survey of Early Literacy Development book. This is used to evaluate a student's ability to blend and segment sounds in words so as to hear and record letters for the corresponding beginning, middle, and ending sounds. So we dictate 2 sentences for the child, and they write the words, and then those are scored on 37 sounds as a total number for a perfect score. This test is one way we determine their written proficiency levels and plan for interventions or small group instruction. So by increasing opportunities for students to write at home and at school, I believe this can have an impact on their learning and ability to perform at proficient levels. A third goal is to increase students' level of agency. I'm very into that idea of them forming their identities as literate individuals. So encouraging students to see themselves as readers and writers motivates them to engage more in reading and writing activities both at home and at school. And then this in turn increases their reading and writing skills. That reading and writing connection is so important to develop at an early age, and this is something I've studied extensively through various resource books and through collaborating with teachers at my school, as well as through the Kentucky Reading Project and Louisville Writing Project the past 3 years. So our goal is, if you can read it, if you can write it, you can read it, and we practice that in class, going back and reading and rereading our written work. Also, that speaking and listening skills can be so impacted through that sharing process of what we read or what we write. The ultimate desired outcome would be students who are motivated to read, write, and share their learning with others by working collaboratively with diverse partners, such as their family members, it could, and opening up that discussion. It doesn't have to just be mom. It could be an older sibling. It could be grandma that helps them. And also at school, at the school level, with diverse partners working together as a whole class, working in small groups or with a partner. We do that quite a bit. So this meets the Common Core standards of Speaking and Listening K.1. Participate in collaborative conversations with diverse partners about kindergarten topics and texts with peers and adults in small and larger groups. So my vision is not only for students to see themselves as literate individuals and makers of meaning, but also to see the important role literacy plays amongst family members, and thus this creates an environment where reading and writing together outside the context of school would be viewed as worthwhile and not just something that we do at school. And another way that I had planned to share my work with others is through presenting at the Kentucky Reading Assembly this next fall. I've been invited by the instructors of the Kentucky Reading Project to present what I have learned, and I find this very appealing because it reaches out to other teachers in the district. I also participated in a share fair this past April where I shared my home journals and helping families engage in literacy development of their children with other people throughout the state. This was done in Lexington in April, and they were very receptive and very interested in trying out some of these ideas themselves. I think that reaching out to others within the district and statewide is, if you have that opportunity, that's something good to do. That way, it broadens the spectrum of lead learning throughout, beyond your school level. So that's where I'm at, and I hope to continue to work on these home journals this next school year, and also share that some of the changes that are made through collegial discussions and through this book study, share that at the Kentucky Reading Assembly this fall. Thanks.